How's it, punters? Welcome back to the last episode of the BSB World Cup edition podcast. It was a pretty successful week for us out. Not I don't want to say a week, but semi-finals. We picked our double, which came in nicely. Argentina in under 3.5, and then France and both teams to score no. And that 100 rand paid out a nice, juicy 500 rand, Simon. And
Very, very nice.
on top of that, I had two bets on Argentina versus France, named the World Cup finalists. Took those on the 19th of November at 23.3, and I got paid out a pretty juicy 2,300 Rand from my 100 Rand bet. So I'm pretty stoked about that one. So finally, we've turned the form around at the end of the tournament, picking up some nice
Yeah,
wins there.
yeah, absolutely. Well, should we break down the first semi being
Yeah,
Argentina and
let's.
Croatia?
What we're going to do is we're going to jump into a quick look at the semi-finals, and then we're going to chat about the final, and then we'll have a quick little look at the third, fourth place playoff that I don't think too many people are going to be interested in. But yeah, let's start off with the Argentina match. I fancied Argentina and under 2.5. You talked me out of it. Ended up going with under 3.5. I think
Yeah,
it was still the right call. I think that was an excellent bet, to be honest. Even the under 2.5, I think was a really solid strike.
yeah.
Argentina a bit fortuitous with a couple of those goals, if I could say. There was a penalty, and then maybe the Alvarez goal, I think. But the third one was, if you're under 2.5, you're a little bit unlucky with that one.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the prices alone, I'm not going to go back on what I said. I was of the opinion that Croatia was a bit overpriced, so there was maybe slightly a bit of value there, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on them, and I'm really glad that I did stay away. And I really liked your Argentina to win under 3.5 just in terms of value, but I stayed away from the match. I was quite surprised to see that Croatia actually had 61% of the ball, and more
Hmm.
passes, dangerous attacks, etc. But it was just that finishing touch that the Croatians lacked, that the Argentinians were just so much better at. So yeah, really, really cool to see Lionel Messi get another shot
Yeah,
at the World Cup
and what a
glory.
player he was in that game. Like he
Fantastic.
was absolutely brilliant. I do have a bet on him. I took it before the tournament. It was one of
Mm,
those mega boosts. It's Argentina to win the World Cup, Messi to win the Golden Boot, and Messi to win the Golden Ball. And I think if he does win the World Cup, he's going to get the Golden Boot, or the best player of the World Cup. And
yes.
Argentina is going to win the World Cup, and I'm just not sure what's going to happen with that Golden Ball, because if he's on the same with as Mbappe,
Okay,
they
well that's
both
what I was
got
going to
five
ask you
goals.
because I haven't been following that market, and I wanted to see where you stand there.
So if either one of them, if Messi scores in the final, Mbappe doesn't, that bet wins. But if neither
Okay.
of them score, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with the Golden Ball,
Yeah,
because he
I wonder
would.
if it'll be a dead heat sort of thing, but I don't know how that's
Yeah,
possible.
it's going to be interesting to see. But obviously, if Mbappe shows up in the final and
Mm,
scores a couple goals, that's going to be dead. But
yeah.
yeah, interesting match, the Argentina match. They came out very, very quickly, very hard, very fast. They put Croatia under the screw very early, and Croatia just for about 10, 15 minutes looked absolutely clueless, just couldn't handle them. And I thought it was going to be a bit of a rout, and it did end up being a rout, but not quite in the sense of the way I thought it was going to go.
Mm.
And just not having not enough clinical finishing up front. Yeah, it's sad to see them go out, but I think Argentina were the better side on the day. I think the scoreline probably did flatter them a bit. But yeah,
Yeah, I think they were convincing winners in the end, and I don't want to say Croatia were kind of found to be frauds. I wouldn't go that far, but at the same time, I think, I think they came up against really really strong opposition. Argentina had a fantastic game. Messi played really well, and you have to think that if they play that well in the final, they've got a very 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 good chance of beating
yeah,
France.
and in our first look at the World Cup podcast, I was really heavy on Argentina just because of their run of form coming into the World Cup, and then obviously they lost
Mm,
that first game against Saudi Arabia, which I said was just basically a speed bump, and
yeah.
I'm glad that that kind of turned out to be right. I was also thinking, like, what other teams really deserve to be there? The only other side that I can think of that might deserve to be in the final is Brazil.
Yeah.
England stumbled a couple of times along the way. France haven't quite stumbled really. Maybe they did lose one game, but I think we've got the best of the best going into the final.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Brazil were slightly disappointing. I mean, you can't look at that squad and not believe that they should be favorites. It's been a while though. It's been a while since they've been the dominant team that they have been in, in the past few decades. But that said, they came into the World Cup just like Argentina in brilliant form. So you had to expect that this would be sort of their comeback year, so to speak.
When last was it that they won a World Cup? I think it was 20 years ago, 2002.
Yeah, no,
South Korea, Japan, eh?
I think so. Was it late 90s or was it early
I think it
2000s?
was 2002, yeah, with
Yeah, yeah.
Ronaldo and co. And then 2006 we had Italy, and then Spain, and
Yes.
then Germany and France. But anyway,
Yeah.
going on to the other final, semi-final, which took place last night, France Morocco, and the other bet that we had there was France to win and both teams to score no, and I think we were quite lucky to get away with that. Both teams to score no. Morocco were really up for it. Full credit to them. Absolutely full
Yeah.
credit to them. On any other day, I think they could have made a final. If they play that match 10 times, 50% chance, they're probably going to go through. They
Yeah.
were they just lacked that clinical finishing. They
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I mean, bang on the money with the France 0 prediction, but the game didn't play out in the cagey way that I expected.
Yeah,
Um,
it was kind of flipped. Like the Argentina game played out how I expected the France game to play out, and the
well, it's,
France game
it
played out kind of how I expected the Argentina game to play out.
exactly. I couldn't agree more. And it's mainly because Morocco was forced to chase the game, right? They went to goal down in the fifth minute. So instead of defending for their lives, which they've done really, really well in this World Cup, they brought men forward and, were nearly successful on a number of occasions when attacking the French goal. So especially early in the early stages of the second half. So it really kind of made for a more exciting game than I was expecting. I was expecting basically Morocco to just try and absorb the French pressure as much as possible, and the French to kind of nick one, in the second half at some point, and either win 1 or 2-0. So it didn't work out like that, and it really actually Morocco going a goal down almost seemed like giving them a better chance of actually winning in the end, in a way, considering how many good shots they had on goal. But yeah, obviously didn't turn out that way. But brilliant campaign, and fantastic to have a African semi-finalist for the first time.
Yeah, those whistles are just super annoying. So I'm glad that's done. Glad we're not going to have that in the
Yeah,
final.
yeah, yeah.
So
Worse
annoying.
than a
It
Vuvuzela.
is worse than a vuvuzela because it only happens when the opposition's on the ball, which is
Yeah.
if it was all the time, then I could deal with it.
Yes.
But it's
Yes.
these breaks and these pauses in between it, and yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
but that's their thing. So,
Yeah. Sure.
but yeah, I just found the French didn't create all that many chances, to be honest. Against they hit them on the break a lot.
Mm.
Morocco obviously crowded out the box when that happens. I don't know how much I want to read into that, but the French were clinical with their chances. They didn't have too many of them, and the ones that they did have, they buried. That first goal was pretty spectacular as
It
well.
was.
I don't know if you
It
caught
was.
that bicycle kick from that Moroccan centre back.
Yes.
Oof,
Yeah.
oof.
Which hit the post. I mean, yeah. Giroud hit the post. Was it once or twice? Definitely once
Oh, Giroud
as
missed an
well.
absolute sitter as well.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
mean,
how he
that
missed
he
that
would have
open
finished
goal.
9 times out of 10. I think he would have finished that one. Yeah. But that's football, I suppose.
But then moving on to the final, let's get stuck into that. It's Argentina France, and it's pretty much a pick'em game.
Mm.
Argentina 2.85, France 2.75. The draw is 3.05. An interesting thing that I picked up while browsing some of the odds this morning was you can get better odds on the draw than you can on getting the match to go to overtime, which is
Interesting.
a little bit sus if you ask me, because if it's a draw, it is going to overtime anyway. And
Yeah,
it
that
was
is
it
very
was like
strange.
a 5%. Here we go. It was so the game to go to overtime is 2.9, whereas a draw is 3.05. So that's why I'm just saying always check the markets that you're going to be
Yeah.
betting on, because you could find some better value, and it's not a huge difference, but
Oh
extra
yeah,
couple of
counts.
bucks. So
Absolutely.
yeah, let's jump into our thoughts on this one. I'm torn between both sides. I'd like both sides to win. I'm not supporting either one. I've always kind of traditionally supported the French,
Mm.
but I'd love to see Messi lift the World Cup.
Mm.
I'm not a huge Messi fan or anything like that, but I really think it would be the jewel in his crown.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I love the fact it's a 5 p.m. kickoff, which you did mention last time. So it's going to be a nice early game. So, it's not going to be a late night. So I think that's really, really nice for us in South Africa. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think I'm also not exactly a Messi fanboy, but I mean, he obviously wants this piece of silver in the trophy cabinet before he retires. After winning, lots of league titles for Barcelona and more recently for PSG and so on. So it just really is. I think it would be a fantastic. Let's be honest, pretty much end his career. I mean, I think the chances of him playing another World Cup
No,
almost zero.
no. Unless he
Um,
comes out in a wheelchair or something.
yeah,
He's
exactly. I
already
mean,
walking so slowly in those matches.
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, looking at the teams, I mean, I don't think I underestimated France exactly, but I'm still very impressed, as I've said, I think in every World Cup pod so far, with how they've gone about their business. And looking at the match, the odds. When I was trying to fall asleep last night after the French Morocco match, I was thinking about what odds, what I would make the odds for the final, and I actually thought France should be very marginal favourites at maybe 2.4. But now the more that I think about it, I think that the pick'em is spot on actually. Um, if you just look at the recent games as well, I mean, I think Argentina played a slightly better game against arguably stronger opposition. I mean, maybe not strong opposition in this World Cup, but you have to agree that Croatia are a stronger
Yeah,
side
a
than
more
Morocco.
dangerous side than Morocco.
Yes, exactly. Who are going to probably play with a more a forward approach. So they won more convincingly on the field and in the scoreline. And then obviously there's the Messi factor, which we talked about. And I must say I'm not one who normally likes to let the motivation of a player or a team affect my betting decisions because I think that you can really come unstuck doing that. Everyone, you got to remember these are professional players. Everyone's motivated and they all have their own reasons. So to think that,
Mm.
oh, well, this player is so motivated and it should actually affect the odds is maybe a little naive, but I almost can't discount the fact that this is Messi's last chance at World Cup glory. So I think that is being priced in, even if it's just like a tiny 1% or something. I think it does matter. Um, Looking at it like his finishing, he's top notch. He's not going to miss. I doubt he'll miss from the penalty spot if he gets a penalty. I
Yeah,
can't.
he has missed one so far this World Cup, but most of
I
his
just.
goals have actually been from penalties.
Yeah, but he's a man for the big occasion, and I
Yeah,
think that he
yeah.
won't he won't crumble under the pressure. And
He
I
won't, he
just
won't pull a cane. It'll be saved or something like that. Should that
right,
happen?
right, exactly. So, man, I mean, it's a really, really, really tough one. As I said, I expected the French to be very, very slight favorites, and now it's a pick 'em, and I don't know. I honestly, I'm not quite sure where to go with this one. What are your thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, it's very difficult to call a win in this one. I'm completely torn between the two sides. Like you've made good points on the players, and you can't really rely on one single player. And like how much of an impact is Messi really going to have on that game? I think the French defense looked really solid against Morocco. Those
Yeah.
centre backs were absolutely on fire, and it was quite a change from the game against England, where they were just giving
Mm,
away fouls for fun. They were
mm,
really not playing well.
yeah.
I think France are going to win. To be honest, I do see this one ending in a draw,
Yeah.
and
I
maybe
just
France in extra time.
I just wish there was a bit of that more value than a 3.05 on a draw. Because I mean,
Mm,
I mean, the bookmakers are literally expecting that, and you're not getting any value there. So it's very hard to pull the trigger on a draw at such a small price for me.
yeah,
I mean, basically all three results are very, very, very probable. So it's such a tricky one to call. I don't like. I think the overs and unders are priced about right as well. It's really, really, really tricky, this one. So I'm looking forward to seeing your outright bets. What happens there with
So I've
Messi
got
and so on. But
I've got France to win the World Cup as well. So
mm.
I've got a couple hundred on that.
So basically, the only way you can lose is if Messi doesn't get the golden boot, but Argentina win,
Well,
I guess.
what I could lose both of them actually. I could, Mbappe could score and
Mm.
get the golden boots, and then Argentina end up winning the World Cup. That would bust out both of those bets.
Yeah.
Or yeah, or Argentina, yeah, or, Argentina could win without Messi scoring as well. And no, well, actually, I'm not sure what happens with that one, but anyway, I'm rambling on. So there's a few permutations for the bets that I do have running for it, but I'm not gonna. I mean, I could trade it off and take Argentina to win,
Uh,
but I'm not. I'm not. I just. I'm not sure. I really can't. I can't. I can make a case for Argentina, but I can make a stronger case for France.
Yeah, well, it's funny because when I've ended up in these situations, I've found that like maybe even if it's only 55% of the time, with these kind of games, my gut feeling's been right, and then I've been talked into or listened to the media or whatever, and I've been talked out of something. And the fact is that I expected France to be favorites, and they're not favorites. So to me, maybe like a France draw no bet
Yes.
is at what is it, 1.95 or something? I'm going to guess. I haven't even looked at the price, but
1.86 over on Betway.
1.86. Maybe that's the way to go, because my gut was France to be favorites. They're not favorites, so that obviously then puts a bit of value on their price. So maybe that's the way I'll go with this, and just go with my gut.
I definitely think the way to go here is, if you're going to be taking a bet on either France or Argentina, don't go for the straight up matches. I'll go for the draw no bet. I think there's a lot of value. Argentina 1.92, which is pretty much even money, and then you've got France at 1.86, and I think that's good value on both sides, to be honest.
I mean, obviously, there's a very good chance you're getting your stake back, because I mean,
Exactly.
the draw's been priced in here. It's very much a runner.
And let's chat about goals now. I mean, I'm looking at both teams to score yes is pretty tempting. I mean, geez, everything's almost a pick 'em in this game, except for the over unders. I mean, both teams to score yes is 2.0, no is 1.78. I couldn't pick between either of those. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Are there going to be goals? Obviously, it's a match. Anything can happen, but usually you have a feeling, or you think.
If I had to pick two correct scores, I couldn't pick one, but if I had to pick two correct scores, I would pick 1-1, and I'd pick 2-1 France.
1-1 and 2.
1-1 or 2-1 France. I think those would be, for me, the two most likely score lines. Because I think that there's probably a little bit of value in France, but I think a draw is absolutely possible. So those would be my two score lines, I think.
There's a lot of value betting combinations of teams in the unders as well. You can get France and under 2.5, which is like quite likely as well at 4.9. That's, have a dabble in a couple of those. You can even get Argentina and under 3.5 again at 3.25. All of those are pretty attractive. Even the draw and under 3 and 3.5, 3.4. Okay, it's maybe not the best odds, but I don't see. I'm not sure. I don't see too many goals, but I can see both teams scoring in this one.
Yeah, that's why I think the 1-1 is if you're going to go correct score. But I as I said, something tells me that France is the team.
Something like a penalty or something like that. I think there might be a penalty in this one. Just got that feeling, like in the 90 minutes. But I'm just it's so hard to call. But my bet's going to definitely be on France. If I were to take one, I'm not going to be betting on it. I might take something in play, or I'll wait for some specials, because there's going to be a couple of specials that come out.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot more value, I think, in taking some of those than there will be on just taking the straight up ones. I mean, there was a special on Lilibet, first half goals in Argentina, in the Argentina match.
7.5, I guess, huh?
Yeah, 7.5.
Yes, yeah.
And was, first half high scoring half, and that came in quite nicely. It was another one that I picked up. But yeah, I can't back the under 2.5 at 1.56, and that's also where I'd be leaning here. It's just too short.
No, that's way too short. It's way too short for me. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think I would have this maybe 1.7 on the under, 2.1 on the over. I think that the expectation of under 2.5 from the bookies is maybe a little bit strong there. I'm not saying I would lean over, but I think that price is a little short, as you say.
I mean, you can also take like a 0-0 draw at 7.8. I hope to God that it's not going to be a 0-0 final. It doesn't look like it, though, to be honest. Like, both of these sides haven't really struggled to find the back of the net. I don't know if the French defense is going to keep Argentina out. And I don't think the Argentine defense is going to be able. I don't know if.
So maybe there is a case for the over.
There is a case for the over. There really is a case for the over. But then,
I mean, you could go Asian and go over 2, and over 2, I guess, would be. So that would mean that So for listeners who don't know, if you bet on over 2 goals, that means that if there are 2 goals, you'll get your money back instead of losing. And if there's 3, you'll win. So it just gives you a little bit more protection, obviously, at a smaller price.
I mean, in that sense, I can take France and over 2.5 goals at 5.0. I think that's a pretty decent price. I mean, it's a long shot, but But yeah, I'm just really struggling. Maybe a draw and under no, a draw and under 2.5, as I said earlier. It's just not great value. You can actually get the same price on a draw and under 3.5 goals. That's
Oh wow.
yeah, it's exactly the same price. That's pretty surprising. I think there's a bit of a
Yeah,
pricing error on that
it
one.
must be. Yeah.
Even a draw and under 4.5. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if this one goes to extra time, who would you fancy?
I mean, if it, I don't know. I think if it goes to extra time, it's obviously one of those games where it's literally just which it should be on paper. I think to be honest, I think yeah, after 90 minutes, it's really anyone's game. But I I think that it's pretty much anyone's game regardless. So it's tricky. It
I,
really
I
is.
I would I would tend to fancy Argentina if the game goes into extra time.
Okay.
To be honest,
Okay.
like I think a lot of the French quick players, Dembele, those guys are going to be subbed off
Mm,
during the 90. So I don't think they'll pose as much of a threat. And it's also the problem with the striker. I mean, it's Giroud.
mm.
Are the Argentines gonna, you know, it's just yeah. Are they going to be able to? They should be able to hold him back. I don't know. It's so difficult. This one's really a 50-50 call. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been rambling on for long enough about this one. It's so difficult to call. It
Yeah.
really
Well,
really
let's
is.
have a best bet then. I'm gonna go France draw no bet, and I do like two correct scores. I like 1-1 and I like 2-1 France.
Let me take some of that 1-1 then. I'm just gonna go straight up with France. I do think there's better value with taking the draw a bit, but I think this game's going to be done in 90 minutes. If it goes to, I don't see it going to overtime. Let me find that 1-1 correct score. You're getting 5.8 on that one.
Mm,
That's reasonable.
yeah.
$50 going to return $290. I'll put that one through. Then I'm going to take France straight up. I'll put a $50 on that one as well, just to. Well, even though I've got France to win, that's what I meant. It's kind of pointless putting anything extra on. Yeah, so let's then chat about the third and fourth place playoff, which no one really cares about. Croatia versus Morocco. Give
Yeah.
me Croatia here, 2.33. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose it's tricky because it's one of those matches that I guess
No one
you
cares
don't want to
about.
say no one wants to play, but it's tough, right? You go out in the semi and now you must play for third. It's tough, but yeah, I was expecting around 11 to 10 on Croatia. So and I can see that there's money both on Sporting Bet and Betway for Croatia already. So I think that is the right side.
Yeah,
I mean they're not hugely appealing odds, but I think it's good enough for me.
yeah. If anything, this game screams unders. And under 2.5 is 1.94. I actually think that's a better bet than taking Croatia. I don't see too many goals in this one. Maybe 1-0, 2-0 kind of vibe for Croatia.
Yeah, I wonder if you probably find that it's priced slightly more to the over because it's a third place playoff and the
Yes.
teams will be a bit more relaxed, so they're not gonna like if they concede, if they score, obviously they want to win, obviously, but at the same time, they probably will be a little bit less compact and more attacking, considering they're playing for basically a nothing position.
No, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that as my bet for that match
Mm,
and put a $50 on that under 2.5. Really, yeah. I mean, I don't see too many goals in this one. I struggle to see where Morocco is going to score against that really solid Croatian defense.
yeah,
Their motivation is not going to be the same as it was in the France game. Obviously, the same can be said for Croatia, but I just think Croatia's got the better players. They've got more quality. Modric will probably go out on a high, so yeah, I'm gonna go with them or under 2.5 goals.
yeah. You kind of feel as well with Morocco, it was like all or bust, right? They wanted to win the World Cup.
Yes,
And it's not going to happen. I don't know. Yeah, I have to feel that they've run out of steam now.
and that match is taking place on Saturday actually,
Yeah, so that'll
so
be
very
before
quick
the.
turnaround as well.
Mm,
Yeah, so I'm not too interested. I don't even know if I'll be watching that one, to be honest. It's such
yeah,
a
also 5 p.m.
Yeah, such a
Yeah,
such a waste. But hey, we don't have any other football to watch, and the Premier
yeah,
League's only going to be back in like just under 2 weeks. So
sure.
might as I'll see if I'll catch it. But yeah, guys, that's where we're going with our World Cup. I think we both agree it's going to be France lifting the trophy. Man, I'd just love to see Messi. I'd be more than happy to lose my bet to see Messi lift the trophy. Really
Yeah,
deserves it after that illustrious career. But it's just hard to look past France. But as we said, it's also a pick'em game. I don't think you can really go wrong with backing Argentina either. And I think the draw on a bet is, as we mentioned, is probably the safest option if you're going to be backing either of these teams. But yeah, guys, that's it for 2022 on the BSB podcast. We'll be back sometime in January. See how the Premier League's shaping up. Coming back with some betting news and all of that. And yeah, guys, have a great Christmas. Have a good New Year's. And hopefully you pick up some nice wins on the World Cup final. Have a good one, guys.